installment of
Illuminati Confirmed.
I'm one of your hosts of this thing. I don't know what this thing is, but I'm one of the hosts here. We got Chris, we got Mark, and we got fucking Ryan Burns. What's up, everybody? How y'all been?
Great.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So I wanted to get Ryan on because he's got a lot of lizard talk, right? A lot of maybe perhaps Illuminati confirmed talk. And here we are. Ryan's been on my show for like 5-6 episodes now, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I love lizard talk.
Yeah, I was looking, and I think we did the first episode we did was like 2 years ago, which is crazy how time flies.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and then
it was like pre-COVID even.
Yeah, it was. It was pre-COVID.
That's insane.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And yeah, today hopefully we're going to be getting into a little bit of Nick Cage, maybe break down the Wicker Man a little bit. And Ryan, what have you been up to as of lately? And for those that don't know, on Chris's show and Mark's show, can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do at Hero Paranormal?
Yeah, so Hero Paranormal basically stands for the Hyper Anomalous Esoteric Research Organization podcast. We basically go into weirdness, jinn, secret societies, and we love like crypto creatures, paranormal stuff. As far as projects and like little things on the side, I have a little science project I call Space Wolf Research, which is a little slice of pie that overlooks the old Bigelow Ranch homestead, where a lot of weird things happen. So sometimes I'm able to, broadcast from there, but usually it's from home means here in Nevada. But yeah, when I'm up in Utah once a month, that's where you'll find me. And you can find me just about once a week on Hero Paranormal. That's about it. Sounded pretty lame, but yeah.
No, you're good, dude. What I don't like about having you on, Ryan, is you always drop these nuggets, right? And you never really go into specifics. So Ryan will be like, hey, I started this crazy light DMT machine, and then he'll just brush right over it like nothing ever happened. What have you worked on as of lately, Ryan, that you can share with the audience, with the airwaves and put forth into the ether, if you will? What and give us the whole thing, bro. I don't want no fucking esoteric. I need the thing. Have you seen Bigfoot lately? Have you seen anything crazy going on the Bigelow side of things?
Okay, so the most messed up thing today, actually, of all days, I found that my favorite occultist was also the first hashish dealer in the United States, which I thought was very strange. But back to what you were asking, the strange stuff that the most interesting thing that I've been experimenting with apparatuses and things is something called the God helmet. And it's originally called the Corin helmet, or the Corin octopus after its inventor, Stanley Corin. But it was basically designed to, if you had a stroke and you were like in your 70s, 80s, or 90s, this thing could like reinvigorate your mind, tap into your neurons in your brain, and like through photobiomodulation, it would enhance the conductivity and conduciveness of the brain function. And if you use this in areas of portal activity or locations of high strangeness, you find that sometimes you're bursting at the seams with turnout. So you get more out than you put in. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You see how he put in there portal activity and then just fucking went right over that and doesn't go into depth. I've read your book, Ryan, and for those that don't know, he's written a book. He owns, and again, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but do you still own the piece of the plot of land on next to Skinwalker Ranch? Do you still own it? Because I know last time we talked, you were in the works with some lizards to do some stuff.
Yeah. So really cool. Okay. Yes, I still own Space Wolf Research. However, and I don't know, I'm always like, I never know what I can say. It sucks balls.
Ryan,
But
say it all, brother. All of it. Blow our fucking brains out, dog.
Okay, I'll just throw it out there, dude.
Yeah.
This is the coolest cat ever. Coolest cat ever. I can't tell you his name. But
He's a lizard though, right?
he's really into this. And I sold basically half of Space Wolf Research, the western half, to somebody that was planning. We had some buzz between us when we were talking research, and yeah, long story short, started talking precognitive intelligences and disembodied voices, and the dialogue went into stuff that I was all about. So yeah, I basically sold half of it to him, and he is using exactly what you mentioned, Juan, which is this lamp. And I believe, oh, I don't want to put this out there.
Is it Elon Musk? Is it just blink if it's Elon Musk? Man.
I wish.
What's it rhyme with?
Deuce Bigelow. It rhymes with Deuce Bigelow, bro. Use your imagination.
So I'll just tell you what it's called. It's called an Anja lamp, and it's a powerful tool developed to help people explore their intimate connection with the wisdom of the universe. The device utilizes light-emitting diodes to stimulate one's brainwave patterns, which trigger the pineal gland and naturally emit DMT. While under light, the participants experience a powerful close-eyed visionary experience from many of the epiphanies and revelations which have been received, most resulting in some cases of profound or transformative personal growth.
So to stay true to the show, right? Illuminati Confirmed, because that is a
what the fuck
moment, because you have these people in power, right? These higher ups, if you will, in government, right? People who are the lizards or the Illuminati Confirmed. What is it? What's their fascination with all this sort of material, right? They're buying properties. They're obviously, right? They obviously know something is up in these areas of high strangeness. We know what goes on Skinwalker Ranch. We have, how you said, places of portal activity. What the fuck does that even mean? And what are they trying to extract from this, right? You're talking about this technology that does it sync the two sides of the brain up? Is that the what's it called, hemispheric synchronization, where it syncs up both sides of the brain and you're able to use the whole thing? What's their fascination with all of this, Ryan? What do you think they're trying to accomplish with all of this?
You know, it's all just guesses. The interesting thing about the area is that it is now, I mean, everybody can talk about it. It's out of the bag. I'm not spilling the beans saying that there were top secret black budget programs being run in the area trying to figure out what the F was going on. And among those programs, many of them are very famous now. We have the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program and the Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program. So kind of like the what is it and how do we kill it? And those two programs
run by the government, Ryan? They're run by the government? Absolutely
run out of the Pentagon. If you look it up, if you look up ATIP and OSAP, it's AATIP and AAWSAP. Those are legitimately the same program. They went under one name, but those are both the same program. And that program was based, for most part, out of the Uinta Basin. That's kind of where its home base was, where it was like when there was nothing else strange to check out, like if there was a real X-Files, that was it. Like they were there. And if there was something else, they'd go there. And I know for a fact, I've talked to Navajo Rangers in the Shiprock area, Four Corners, all kinds of weird stuff would happen, and these real life men in black, Bass, BAASS, would show up before the local Navajo Rangers. So these guys would jump on a jet, show up, check stuff out, and be there, to have coffee and donuts, basically, by the time the other people showed up. So they were super legit. And these projects were super legit. And the area they were studying is something that from my property, I can see every inch of. So it's really weird being in a position where I try to be super respectful, but at the same time, I'm just so curious.
Now, wait, oh, sorry, Mark, go for it. Sorry.
No, I would love to give you the opportunity to ask a question, Chris, but something really just struck me because Juan, you mentioned portals a couple times, and I went to my map here and I made a rough approximation where Skinwalker Ranch is. You can't just Google it, folks. But it seems to line up on the 40th parallel. Have you looked into that, Ryan? Have you looked into that angle? Because I know some gentlemen in the Philadelphia area who talk about the Philadelphia experiment, possibly opening up portals. Benjamin Franklin's, Highway to Hell was also sort of a portal opening. This is Ross Ben and Michael Juan, who I'm talking about as far as their work. But yeah, when did that dawn on you that there might be some kind of ley line significance, Ryan?
So I did a project with Chuck Zukowski from he and Ben Misrick. Ben Misrick wrote the book The 37th Parallel, which it basically says that, like, give or take a few parallels, there's a lot of weird stuff happening right along these parallels. And it's basically like a UFO superhighway, or a lot of high strangeness takes place. And in fact, Chuck and I went to the Uinta Basin and did some research for a project. It was Alien Highway, the very first thing they did. And it was very interesting. I totally read the book. I believe in the parallels, and I think that there's something to it. I mean, there's obviously something to it. And then if you do things on top of that, like Native American curses or damming water, doing Central Utah projects, and then they threw on these huge high power lines over this already cursed land. So they kind of added insult to injury and just kind of made a 31 flavors out of plain ice cream. But yeah, it's a mess now. It's awesome. It's a mess. Yeah.
Chris, what were you gonna ask, bro? Because you look like you were ready. You look like a fucking mad scientist right now, bro.
I'm just so confused, man. So wait, hold up, Ryan. You live next to Skinwalker Ranch, which has hella weird shit going on. And so you got your binoculars out and you're watching Men in Black show up?
Okay, so it's weirder than that. Okay, so I live in Las Vegas, where the old owner of Skinwalker Ranch lives, and where a lot of the stuff was taking place and bursting out of. But I have a property that I used to, this is so strange. It's very synchronistic. A property where a lot of older researchers and myself used to go to look for the best vantage point of what was going on, to check out information and see important things, and basically, just check stuff out. It became available for sale. I bought the whole thing. I've now sold half of it to this cat from back east that's doing this DMT stuff with his Angelamp on the other side. And we're doing similar but different things on our side that are more, they're different. And so, it's turned into something that is more than a hobby, really. But yet it's super hard to shake. It's something that is, you see stuff that's super cool. Everybody sees stuff, but the way you interact with these precognitive, non-corporeal intelligences that seem to be able to know what you're thinking before you even think it, is super crazy. Like, who are these little chess masters that are like cruising around this crazy high desert ranch area, like doing all these things, and everything from like cattle mutilations to all kinds of stuff. So they had a very, for example, they had a very top dignitary. I won't use his name, even though he just came out with a book about it called Skinwalkers in the Pentagon. He's on it. He was from the Pentagon. He went out to the ranch. Long story short, he was talking to some people and he saw, I don't know if you can see in the background, he saw this thing. So that is from Tubular Bells, which is a Mike Oldfield album, which he saw that thing flying around. And that's the closest thing that he can say that it looked like. Yet that particular album is from The Exorcist. So there's this really strange, crazy issue that comes in where everything kind of has a spiritual angle. But it doesn't seem to matter who they are. I took my late father-in-law, who was a Navy SEAL out there, and he totally felt it. Other Navy SEALs and other very military-oriented individuals have gone out there, and in fact, they feel it more than people that are more passive. So I don't know what it is, man, but it's just kind of a weaker spot, I think, in the general relationship that we have on this planet. So it's just a weaker spot in the matrix, let's say, but it's very intriguing and interesting.
And by weaker spot, he means like where the veil is thinner, Chris, where things are more prone to come through and stick their dick out at you, and you're like, whoa, it looks like a fucking UFO, but it's the alien dick that's coming out at you. So Ryan, and this is right. This is what I love about having you on, because you're so cryptic about everything, and you just give enough to let the mind wander. And I love when you talk about how these things have some sort of cognitive or some sort of. Do you think they're self-aware? Is it like are they tapping into like the Akashic records or something? Like I don't know. What do you think it is about these entities, if you will, right? Because last time, not last time, but on one of the episodes, we mentioned how there are entities in this world or this realm that are like the Metatron, right? Or that hold everything in place, the Baphomet, whatever you want to call them, that hold reality in place, and they have some sort of intelligence. Where do you think this stems from? Is it, how do I say this? It's obviously paranormal, but where do you think all this comes from? Do you think it is something that was manifested, or do you think it was something that was already here? Like, where do you stand with that aspect of it all?
I think that there are disciplines whose intentions are resonant, that are ancient. So I think that it's
like the Watchers, maybe, like they're watching,
yes.
Right? The Watchers and the Nephilim and the Elohim and all this shit. They're just there observing, right? And maybe they interact every now and again.
You just said it. Yeah, you just said it. The Elohim. Nowhere in the Bible does it use the God word in a singular sense, other than, it's very strange. It's like these machine elves or helpers, these creators. It's definitely Team A. But in my opinion, getting back to your question, not to go off on a tangent, concerning that, I absolutely believe that we are dealing with an ancient, some sort of technology. It may be some kind of alien or ancient alien artificial intelligence. And that's just my own theory. Going biblical on it, I would absolutely call it the Elohim. Absolutely, the things I've seen are impossible to do unless you have like small g godlike status. So what that means is that you can maneuver space and time, sort of like a djinn, and you can do that on demand when you want, when it suits them, not us, when it suits them. And what I've seen from that is that it is almost like they are kind of slicing through or coming through. But what I've realized is they're definitely, in a biblical sense, I would say Elohim. In a Middle Eastern sense, I would say jinn. In a more Eastern sense, I would have to call them something along the lines of an ancient alien artificial intelligence. So,
and the most interesting part for those that aren't familiar with the Skinwalker Ranch, why did they take the form of these wolves, right? The bulletproof wolves, or even the Sasquatch, right?
Hold on. What's a wolf?
A wolf. A wolf. A wolf.
Say it again, motherfucker. Say it again.
Guys, it's been a long day for me, okay? I'm just trying to comprehend.
Wait, hold up. They're bulletproof wolves?
But yeah, they're bulletproof wolves. Or fuck you guys. How's that?
Yeah.
Why do you think they take these shapes of, right? Because you've seen, I know you signed.
Hold on, we gotta get this straight. Hold on. Ryan, you live next to Skinwalker Ranch, which is a place of high weirdness.
He owns property there, bro.
At your house with binoculars, or just because you're in the general vicinity, weird shit happens to you. You brought other people, weird shit has happened to them. Now you're communicating with interdimensionals from this place with a robot helmet?
No, I think what we're doing, according to, and this is so fucking weird, dude. I think what we're doing
it's just now getting weird.
Yes, this is where it gets really weird. I think what we're doing. Okay, so you guys have heard of like the Bourne Ultimatum, the movie series.
Uh-huh.
I used to run a bed and breakfast, and the guy that was loosely based on was he frequented the bed and breakfast, and he was really into this stuff. And yeah, he told me that these, and he's still active in the military, but he told me that these, what he called them, he has property down south and does similar things. But what he told me is that these, what he called them is, they're portals of sorts, but we can create them ourselves through things like the God helmet or the Anja lamp or DMT or ayahuasca, things of these natures, breath
or
work.
CERN.
Totally CERN. Like, yeah, you're smashing, you have a fucking microwave out there in a field without the door on it, you'll probably create something. And like, the thing is that
or Skinwalker Ranch, or your house next to Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, like when you have these areas, they call them biochemical portals, and it's an example or an ideal situation where a human being is in a hypnagogic state where they are more prone or able to see past this veil that we seem to believe is very material, but in certain situations seems extremely liquid.
Ryan, I had mushrooms earlier, bro. I know all about this veil, dog. I know what you're talking about. But the question is, how does you do it?
So it's interesting you asked that. So you can actually utilize there's a few techniques. You can just look for like weird stuff piling up, everything from like small dead animals in particular locations. That might be a portal location.
Real quick, Ryan, I don't mean to cut you off. Please read the disclaimer, right? So people don't go out and try this shit. Because, Chris, part of this is that something attaches itself to you and you lose a piece of yourself.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So that's the disclaimer for the audience, right? Don't go out and fucking try and do this because you will lose a part of your fucking soul. Literally.
So, Ryan, you're not complete then, dog. You touch the dark side?
Oh, dude, I'm barely hanging on to whatever reality we have.
Well, how can we trust this information, son? You know what I mean? You could be sent by the devil himself.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, this is all sus now.
So a pile of dead animals, right? Everybody runs into those all the fucking time. So you find those. Then what's next? We're trying to conjure Baphomet here, guys. So
okay, so if you see like ground-based lights or things above, if you see things that are out of the ordinary, dead animals in a certain location. Or strange readings on your devices, whether those be, you could have tri-field meters. There's all kinds of different things you can use out in the field to measure this strange geomagnetic anomaly. And what ends up happening is these particular locations kind of lend themselves to these situations. If you sit on locations like this after you clear the bodies out or whatever, the small animals, but if you sit in these locations, you'll actually feel like the earth moving a little bit when you start getting into like the sounds so occult, dude. But when you start sitting in like, when you start getting in the groove, like the whole thing just starts like, whoa, whoa. And I mean, totally legitimate. Readings go up. And back to the lizard people. I mean, this is stuff the elites have known for a long time. And it's just basically lately that I think the masses are getting just basically any wind at all of any of this stuff.
Do you feel that there are other areas in this world just like this that maybe perhaps haven't been discovered, maybe out in the middle of the oceans or something, like the 12 vial vortices, right? With Ivan Sanderson, that he talks about that, these places, right? The Bermuda Triangle, the Dragon's Triangle, Mohenjo-Daro, all these different areas around the world where, quote unquote, the veil is thin, where civilizations have gone missing from one day to the next. Like, what the fuck happened to those people? Did they find a pile of dead animals and sit down and right, they all pieced out? Can you talk about the genetic aspect of all this as well, Ryan? Because I think that's an important thing with Haplogene X and that group there. Super,
super important. And people used to call me crazy 5-10 years ago talking about this stuff. They were like, you're out of your mind. Only recently, in fact, even this year, we are finding out that, go figure, the Uinta Basin of Utah is very likely the early location or one of the origins of the Aztec community. So if the Aztecs started there and then went south, that creates an entirely different narrative than what we have. Haplogroup X comes into this DNA mix and genetic. It's really quite the pie. It's a mess because Haplogroup X is super prevalent. I'm just going to give you there's a long story and a short story. The short story is super prevalent in the Ute Indians in the Uinta Basin of Utah. Now, where is Haplogroup X from? If you trace it back, it's from the hills of Galilee.
Oof.
In super crazy, like we're getting biblical, and literally we're talking about a place so small in a town so small that like you either knew who the guy was or you knew about the Nazarene, or Jesus or whatever. So really interesting DNA components, and the Ute, to add like kind of one more level to this, the Ute are actually the closest relatives to the Aztecs.
Bro, you sound Jamaican every time you say that. Utes, all these Utes.
It's a strange word.
Yeah.
It is.
So this relates to even do you think this relates to the Merovingians, right? This traces back to, so what you're trying to say, Ryan, is that Jesus was some reptilian shapeshifter who could, right? Because the whole, so to clear it up for the audience, the whole thing about Haplogene X is perhaps there is this genetic, I don't want to say abnormality, right? Because I don't want to say it's a bad thing in certain people that are more that it opens them up and they're more susceptible to the paranormal, and hence that's why you have these stories of the Skinwalker, right, where they were able to project these things onto other rival tribes. You have the Wendigo story, right? Because again, if you were to do through alchemical processes, you were able to become this fucking zombie interdimensional being, right? The Wendigo. You have the boogeyman, right? All these stories of the boogeyman that we tell our children, they are perhaps based on some sort of genetic abnormality or anomaly, if you will, in certain people who are able to be more open and use these things in their favor. And by these things, I'm talking about like skinwalkers and other worldly entities, right? So again, this is, how you said, biblical, right? Where we have Moses turning fucking staffs into snakes. You have Jesus walking on water. You have all these crazy, you have Buddha, right? All these enlightened ones. You have the ascended masters, if you will, of the world that perhaps were part of this group of people. And then that traces back into these royal bloodlines of, quote unquote, the reptilians or
Illuminati Confirmed.
The Illuminati Confirmed, where they are able, because it's amazing, right? That they know about this. They know about this shit, right? Project Stargate. They know about all this stuff.
So let me add, maybe, because I'm assuming Ryan may be familiar with this. If not, that's all right. I would love to bring it to your attention. But we talk a lot about like the blood and the DNA, but in another interesting case, we have this part of the brain that apparently is more evolved in certain groups of people, called the caudate putamen, and it's related to intuition and the ability to sort of act on sparse information, is how it's described here. But it's very much connected to people who see UFOs and have these sorts of experiences. At least that's the bias of the person I'm reading here now. But I would assume that that would also be, you know, equal for cases where people experience paranormal phenomena as well.
Yeah. Is that Gary Nolan's project that you're reading up on?
This is kind of an article. Yeah, Gary Nolan. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I know some people in that particular project, and it's pretty smooth the way they're able to describe this antenna within our brain. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
The third
Anyway.
eye.
Yeah. Anyway, this particular antenna that is able to interact or match the frequency when the opportunity is given with these unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena. And I think that what we're going to find out, I hate to say this, it sounds so super cheesy, but I think what we're going to find out is like these are the same little like buggers that have been flying in the sky as long as mankind has been around. We have them in everything, you know, and I hate to go down this super cliche ancient
Mahabharata,
aliens. Yeah, you know, it's super lame. But I do believe that there are parts of the planet that are more conducive to this type of stuff, you know, places like Summer Isle, where like locations and cults and people start to congregate around this energy and utilize it on different platforms for their own benefit. I do think this is happening. And in fact, I know it's happening because this same, my favorite occultist, who I found out was the largest hashish dealer and first hashish dealer in the United States, and also the first secret society creator in the United States. He was not only African American or mixed blood at the time, but he dabbled in a lot of this type of, finding these ley lines, finding areas that were conducive to energy portals or areas that would help you elevate your own consciousness. And, not only that, this guy was best friends with Abraham Lincoln, really good friends with Benjamin Franklin, was actually a member. There's like really strange my point is that they would find these places like Summer Isle, that this Nicolas Cage movie was about, and they would use these locations to conjure or recreate or manifest or energize their own beliefs to a point where they would manifest exponentially beyond a shadow of a doubt more than they would in other locations.
Yeah, that's why they build these sacred temples, these churches, these establishments in specific locations, right? And when you have people taking over, what's the first thing that they do? They tear down these temples and they build upon those where it was, because the ancients knew about these different places, right? You have, was it Michael Bloomberg building on top of an old Mithraic temple, like the most advanced building ever, that it like tracks your blood sugar as soon as you walk into a room, and they have little robots that send you food in case your blood sugar's low or some shit, right? Again, these elites, Michael Bloomberg, and they know about this stuff. And it's like how you're saying, they're using these areas that the ancients knew about. And I love the way you put it with you call it elemental technologies, right? Where maybe perhaps with a certain formation of stones, you are able to conjure something into reality, right? It's alchemy. We are right, the old alchemist in his cave trying to find that philosopher's stone type of shit. But at the end of the day, we're the philosopher's stone, right? We have to look within, and this is what the ancients were all about, I think, and that's what the pyramid signifies, and what they were. I think that they were trying to do the same shit that we're trying to do now, figure out the secrets of the universe and understand it and be able to comprehend it in a digestible way. You know what I mean?
I'd agree with that. That's very eloquently
You're
said.
You're muted, Ryan.
I was just going to agree with him. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it just blows my mind that these elites, they know about this shit. They know that they're able to get in touch with these things. And with the research that you're doing, right? We talked about the antenna, and there's also the. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in my Freemasonic symbolism stage right now, where they talk about the frontal sinus, right? And in that frontal sinus, there is this gaseous material, which could be the soul, right? The part of the brain that Mark brought up, with this research that you're doing, is it something to where are they trying to find out if people are able to develop it if they aren't at a certain level with it and get to that? You know what I mean? Are they trying to find out like how to say, make your penis bigger? Well, with this, you can make your third eye bigger. You know what I mean?
So first of all, how do you talk to these fucking other dimensional things? And B, what are they? And one and B, right? And B, what the fuck they gotta say?
Dude, they're not happy. So they're up against, as we spoke before, they're not happy, but I mean, they're elemental tricksters, so there's nothing that can beat them. So they know they're going to win.
Is that like a goblin? Is that like a demon? Like, is that like
yeah, it just depends on the culture, dude.
I need a handle. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the culture. So if you're Native American, it would be a shapeshifter. If you are in the Middle East, it would be a jinn. If you are
like coming out of a genie bottle.
Exactly.
Okay.
Something that can manifest from nothing and create everything.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get an idea of the angle of power that this thing has, right? Comes from nothing, creates everything.
So you could talk to this guy. Let's call him Bob. You can talk to Bob.
Well, I think there's a lot of Bobs, but yes.
Okay. Bob won.
Yes. I think the Bobs are in the Bobs are in control. And what I mean by that is, like, you'll hear Bobs talking sometimes above your head, dude. Not even kidding. You'll hear Bobs talking. You'll go out into an area that there's absolutely fucking nothing, Chris. Sorry, I don't swear, but there's nothing. You're in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
And you'll hear a couple Bobs talking above your head, just like, hey, Bob, what's going on? Like, look at this guy behind us or below us or whatever. Like, you can hear this chattering in this very ancient, almost like Romulan, it sounds extraterrestrial, but it's probably an ancient human language is what I'm thinking.
You're just walking around the property and you can hear Bob talking.
You can, in the general vicinity, not even just the property, like there's an 80-mile radius of this nonsense. And you can hear disembodied voices that are totally chattering, laughing, discussing, mocking, mimicking, and otherwise interacting with you in a way that you can't interact back, making you feel like a nothing. And
it's a one-way thing. It's a one-way thing. They can go, all right,
well, it's almost like
and then like put it somewhere else in a tree or something, and then you got to deal with that.
It's almost like Mrs. Summer Isle, right? In the movie Wicker Man, where the island itself has a personified version, like it's an anthropomorphized energy in a way, and it interacts with us even though it's not entirely or even altogether human, right? And my question for you, Ryan, is, do you have any evidence of governments using this sort of science to plot where they put their bases in various locations, because it seems like over and over and over again we have military bases, government buildings, and even this you know, T gentleman Bigelow there, you know, buying up property adjacent to these weird energy spots.
Man, this is so much bigger than myself. Sometimes I'm like amazed that I'm still alive just because I have any knowledge at all. And I just mean that in a general sense, like all Americans, the fact that when we gather knowledge, there comes a certain fear with that knowledge. And it's best, Rick Doty told me it's best to just talk about it, get it out there, because then they have nothing to kill you over. So the thing to say is that, you know, this is very serious, Mark. This is special access protocols, SAP protocols, held only for the highest regard, either special presidential transport, things of the highest top secret levels that nobody can know about. Nobody. The last thing they want is some, like, you know, kids out there, which I was at the time. I mean, I've been doing this so long, you know, running around in a place where nobody should be, looking for things that don't exist. And not only that, interacting with these things, you know, interacting with these things that this black budget government program is trying to study. And you have these ridge rats, for lack of a better word, running along this ridge line, interacting with reckless abandon with things that are beyond the comprehension of the United States government.
Yeah, and they're trying to study it. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? It's like the great old ones. They've always been there since the beginning of time, but they don't give a fuck about you in the slightest sense. And can you tell the story about the orb, Ryan? Have you ever conversed with one of these bobs before? Have you ever talked to one, like actually have a conversation with it?
Dude, the creepiest? No, never have. I've heard the bobs talk above, like a few of us have heard the bobs talk above us. I love that, dude. I'm using the bobs now. By the way, I'm taking that, Chris. The bobs just got taken.
Well, that is a part of the Church of the Subgenius, which I don't know if anyone's aware of that, but I was just looking that up last night. That's a totally other tangent, but yeah, Bob's is definitely an inside joke for
it has an intellect.
People.
I'm guessing that has an additional like element. I want to hear about it. This has an additional element. I'm guessing that BOBS has something.
Well, have you ever heard of Discordianism? So Discordianism is something that there's a variety of people that created it, but Robert Anton Wilson is probably the most famous Discordian author. And yeah, there's this whole culture of sort of rejecting mainstream culture through the Church of the Subgenius, where they worship this Bob instead of God. And there's all these inside jokes, and anybody who's not aware is like a pink belly, and like, you know, they just have their own lingo and their own slang, and it's all about collecting slack, which is like just this type of attitude. A good representation of somebody who follows that sort of mindset is the Big Lebowski character in that movie. He's very much a Discordian type of person, just kind of going through life with slack. Well, I just explained that for Ryan, and now he's gone.
Well, this happens a lot with Ryan, bro, where Lily will be talking about some sort of otherworldly entity, and he'll just peace out for a couple of seconds and then come back in. So
okay,
this will happen.
Well, I did want to point out it's strange that you brought up orbs, because the whole time I was thinking like Ryan Bledsoe. I don't know if you guys know about Ryan Bledsoe, but very similar kind of events in a different way happened to him and his family, and they see orbs all the time on their property, and they just have like a very similar name, Ryan B. You know? Like,
yeah. Well, I want him to tell the story because it's fucking crazy. What'd you say, Chris?
That's what they used to call them in World War II, Foo Fighters.
Oh, okay.
Like there were these orbs that would come up. So, but before we go
yesterday,
I gotta understand this correctly. The part of the country that he lives in, 80 miles around it, give or take, and other places on ley lines around the world. You go there, the veil is thin. You can hear Bob talking.
Yes,
But different Bobs at the same time, and they can interact with you, but you can't interact with them.
No, you can't hear Bobs, Chris. You hear disembodied spirits from an ancient race of people who were decimated in their own sacred space, and then their sacred space contained them like an ancient vessel, and you can hear the echoes of their voices and even the disembodied spirit of their collective consciousness, even, which is remaining somehow through the soil of the earth and the minerals and the energy flowing through the land. You know, you have all these paranormal beings that, yeah, I'm rapping right now. I don't know why you're throwing me off, swaying your shoulders, but
So it's a
yeah,
ghost.
brother.
It's a ghost that's stuck in the house.
Have you ever heard of the concept of a tutelary energy?
Wait, it's a ghost that's stuck in a house, though, right? I mean, basically.
Here
right?
he is again.
I don't like that. Speaking of ghosts in a house, there's no one in this house.
There's no one there. There's a ghost in my house. There's a ghost in my house.
It's like that
You know what I
movie.
mean? 'Cause I
Show
think it's-
yourself, Keisha. I
think
don't
it's
give a
up.
fuck, Keisha. Don't taunt the ghost. I don't give a fuck.
Because ghosts can they follow you, or you know what I mean? Because you're
Yeah.
saying, because that's the question, right? Or are they
Well,
stuck?
it depends. It depends, brother. It depends. We just went from explaining the Bob's Church of the Subgenius to explaining Skinwalkers because you left and now you're back.
Dude, all I know is like
orbs.
Mark and I switched places on the chessboard, which I think is perfect. It was like so nice. Like,
I was
like-
looking at myself before a lot because of where my camera's placed. So yeah, I'm glad that we switched to.
No, yeah. But I think we are in a matrix of sorts, and there are these cults or these entitled or elite masters that whether you're talking Canaanites, Pharaohs, Babylon, Romans, Judea, Templars, Khazars, Masons, Jesuits, Illuminati, they all are tapped into something that they don't want to talk about with just anybody. They don't want to just put this in the paper or
Oh, there he goes. Can you guys hear me? Oh, there you go.
This is definitely Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, this happens all the fucking time when we do shows. Like his screen will black out. My shit will start acting up. It's because again, Chris, what I was gonna say earlier was that when you go to these places, yes, things can't. He says he sages himself off in order to look even.
Dude, he needs to put some sage next to his Wi-Fi router, bro.
Real shit, dude.
Yeah,
Sage yourself, son.
sage yourself.
It could be the 5G, dude.
It's definitely that 5G, son.
Yeah,
They
so,
fake trees. Fake trees. You seen those?
because
Suck.
I wanted to go to Skinwalker for a long time, and me and Ryan had talked about it and all this shit. But then, dude, is this a time loop? Like, did he come back in?
I feel
Are you stuck in a time loop, Ryan? Like,
you
you came back in. You're muted, I think.
Oh man.
You're muted, Ryan.
He was just talking to Bob in the other room.
So I have toddlers, so I had to check to make sure that they weren't messing with my modem, that it wasn't my side, that it wasn't, But anyway, I don't know where you guys went with this, but yeah, I'm on board. Where are we heading with
Can you
it?
talk about the orbs, Ryan, and about things attaching themselves to you when you go to these places?
Oh, fuck, dude. Okay.
You just swore again, Ryan.
I know. I don't do this either. I don't do that. I know. I'm giving a really bad initial impression of myself.
At all. Not at all.
So-
You're doing
And
great.
talk about the time
These-
warps, Ryan, too, when you were running and you
Yeah.
kept going back in time.
Whoa.
There are these orbs that, for lack of a better word, seem to be intelligently controlled sentinels of some sort on these badlands, these fucking places. Damn it. These places where there's nothing. And this is so important to point out. There's nothing of value that we would intrinsically call value. But these highly technological drones of some sort, these orbs, are able to follow you through these badlands And they are trying to figure out what you're doing and why you're there. And they are either protecting something or notifying something of your presence. We've had multiple orb.
Dollars again. God damn it, Ryan.
Yo, what do you think the freakiest thing you could do, like freak out an alien would be? You think you could freak an alien out? Like,
Yeah.
they'd be like,
Sure.
"Ah, I'm not messing with Mark. He's wilding. Like, this motherfucker's crazy. So they leave you alone. You mind fuck the alien, you know?
The men who
He's
stare at
whacked.
goats.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know, get him to the Greek, right? You know what I mean? Mind fuck the star. You know what I mean? Like, mind fuck those aliens.
So these orbs, Ryan, they come out to investigate you, and do you think that they're taking scans of you at the same time while they're out there? And
So I'm going to break it back. I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to do, yes, I do think that these are just kind of like guard dogs of a sense. And if anything, the thing they hate the most is guard dogs of a sense.
Wait, the guard dogs hate the guard dogs?
Yeah, like there is a very,
Actual dogs and the orbs hate each other?
yes, there's a very, very well documented case of the original, I shouldn't say original, but second owner of Skinwalker or Bigelow Ranch, that Terry Sherman, he had some very loyal cattle dogs. They were blue healers, and he basically one day set them out after these orbs, these blue orbs. They call them the blue meanies. But they would, you know, they taunt a lot of things. They taunt animals. They fly around. And one night he was out on the porch and he just said, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just sick the dogs on the lights and see what happens. And he sicked his dogs on the lights, and they chased these blue lights, and they became grease spots in the field, just a field over. So
The dogs became grease spots?
totally grease spots.
oh
yeah.
shit,
Yep.
that's
And there's
wow.
images of the spots. It's really wild.
The goo? Just like
The goo.
Holy shit, Ryan. Do
These
you
aliens got no respect.
Never mind. I was gonna say if you had any good pictures that you could show, but I don't want your connection to get all fucked up again. Like some juicy.
Dude, is it my side? Is it my connection?
I think so. Yeah.
It's so weird.
No, you're good now. But I'm saying if you had any pictures that you could share, because I know you got some fire, but I don't know if the government would let you share these pictures with us because because I'm pretty sure there's some people listening to this going, "What the fuck is this guy been talking about for the last hour about?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, yeah, it's crazy. If you look up the if you really want to go out on a limb and like loop it all together and realize what exactly is taking place out in the middle of nowhere, you have the Russian government, the Chinese government, and the United States government all trying to utilize different research methods to try to understand, mimic, and recreate this ancient technology that some sort of shapeshifter has in the area. And they're using portal technology, which sounds totally crazy. I know it sounds totally crazy. But by portals, I just mean the ability to recreate, the ability to re-enter. So we have things that are entering our atmosphere, and they're doing so in the same locations, technically. Other places like the Bradshaw Ranch are also very well known for this. That's located in Arizona, close to Sedona. And really interesting if you want to navigate those waters really quick. Very interesting situation where there's a ranch owned by a family. They had all kinds of, very similar to the old Bigelow Ranch, they had all kinds of strange situations take place. Very dimensional stuff, including dinosaurs that they witnessed, same as the Bigelow Ranch.
Whoa.
And what's weird here is they literally lost their property due to some strange tax loopholes to the United States government. It's now highly monitored, and it is technically used and facilitated as grounds for studying the growth of cottonwoods. That is the explanation they give for the multitude of video cameras throughout the property, is to study how quickly these small cottonwood trees that they planted in these little fields, dude, and they're like this big. That's what they claim is the reason that they're checking, what is like how quickly cottonwood trees can grow in this super shitty environment. Like, it's really weird.
That's the funniest shit ever, dude. What? And
So the government has these properties, and they sit there and they evaluate what's happening.
yeah.
And they go, there's mad strangeness here. How do we recreate this in other places?
Mhm. Talk about the big fans, Ryan.
Wait. And then they go through a portal that's at this place. And they go where exactly? To the other side, I understand that. Where other things live at. Bob and all his buddies. But where is that? Is that the next dimension? What are we doing?
Okay, so this is really weird.
If you were to draw some map,
If I was to draw you a map, it goes right up my ass and I'm super fucked. So, super fucked. And I've said it, like, I've seriously sworn more on this podcast than I think I ever have before. But I'm going to get through to Chris.
Is it like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where you got the time machine, but it's actually a phone booth, but it's that time machine though? And then you go through like Linguini in time, bada bang, you're with Napoleon.
Okay, so let's pretend that somebody said to you, hey man, I'm going to let you into your own mind.
I'm already in there enough, bruh.
Right? And
Yeah,
so
too
they say, I'm going to let you into your own mind geographically
On a map.
on a map, where we will allow you to be in an energy zone where your mind will actually interact with you more than anything else or any other platform. So you will actually be the main observer and displayer of
What?
activity in this area.
Isn't that life though already? Like, isn't that what's happening kind of?
Yeah. So take whatever you got going on and times it by 100
Okay.
or 10. You take 10, 10x it. It's like really seriously, it's just raw and rugged. It really is, man. Exactly like what you're saying. If you're just a bug that's used to like walking on the ground, then this would be like a bug used to walking on a bug zapper. So you would be like way more, sorry, my kids are having a shower behind me.
nah, you're good, bro.
But yeah, you would be way more like it's super
That's psychedelic.
integrally, yes, psychedelic without the psychedelics. And that is the integrally, I don't know. The integral, in my opinion, the integral thing of all of this is that you need no psychedelics to make these biological portals open, making it very apt and capable of interacting with non-corporeal precognitive intelligences that are roaming the landscape, which by all, I mean, technicalities, these things shouldn't exist. And they are jamming up and down this thing like nobody's business all the time. I mean, these things should not exist. And they are just like, it's like seeing fish in a stream, and fish are supposed to be extinct,
Dinosaurs, Bigfoot.
Totally, dude. Totally.
Skunk
Yes.
apes.
Yes.
And then all those bobs hang out together in the next.
Well, I think it's a situation where it's some sort of there's a geological element that is creating some kind of a interaction on a global scale that can only be compared to a capacitor or diode or something of that nature, where it's actually designed to release energy in a place where nobody should notice. However, people are noticing.
Ryan, I know we've talked a lot about, right, the UFOs and all this shit, but and I'm about to throw a wrench into it because I'm pretty sure the listeners are like already going, what the fuck? Now they're going to be like, what? So we have the Skinwalker, right? Why is it? And can you talk about why is it that it wants to lure people in with an
Beautiful
example,
creature, dude.
the baby, the crying baby, right? The water baby, the scream.
What is that? Like the 20th fuck of this podcast. Okay. Beautiful creature. A beautiful creature of elemental status, very similar to the mermaids that in ancient lore, right? They would try to lure more souls into their abyss. And the water babies, for example, they'll use every trick in the book, and they are the book. The shapeshifter is integrally the most important key aspect of this entire puzzle. So none of this can take place without this thing called the trickster in the middle of it. And this trickster has a number of designations. If it is the government, it is this X factor that they cannot enter into their scientific calculations because it eludes them. If it is the Native Americans, it is the shapeshifter, which is a very real entity because you can tap into this substance. You can tap into this energy. You can tap into this ability to paranormally exist geologically and geographically within an area where you can get away with more than you are usually able to get away with. So if you are into the occult, this is a paranormal Disneyland.
The astral plane, right?
Totally, man. You can be a total dumbass and you can access, all of a sudden you can be like, you're thinking you're like Aleister Crowley. So, it's like that. Only problem with that is, as Juan said, when you gain something, you give something. And this is from the very best scientists in the business that are involved with some of this stuff right now. So they take something from you somehow when you gain knowledge of some sort, way, shape, or form. If you gain something, they will take something from you. We don't know exactly what they're taking. That sucks. But anyway, yeah.
So, yes. So obviously it's not physical, right? Do you think like the Bobs would want your balls or something? I don't know. Like there's something about man that they want, right? There's this divine spark within man. Because why else would it lure you? And when you talk about this piece that goes missing, is it as a collective to where if it adds up enough times you dissolve from this reality, or do you die physically as a human, or do you die spiritually? Like what level, like how much can they take from you, right? And how much can you tolerate? And what do they do with what they take? You know what I mean? Like this is deep.
Super deep, dude. To put it most simply, if you consider them the machine, a machine needs lubricant, right, to run. But lubricant does not need a machine. So they are jealous of us because we are able to do things that they cannot do. However, they are able to do things we cannot do. However, they need us to do what it is they're doing. We're more the lubricant. It's more the machine.
What are they doing?
They're managing the...
Dude,
I don't know, man.
This is what Rene Descartes talked about when he talked about
do you want... I don't know, man. Like, I'm such a dumbass. Like, do you really want my opinion? Like, I don't even like when you ask me that, like, I'm like, do you really want my opinion? Like what I think?
Yeah, of course.
Because I mean, I'm up against there's so many bright minds deeply involved with this. And in the search of what this interactive, intelligent, precognitive intelligence is able to do, It can do whatever you want it to do.
I want
And
$1 trillion, son. Right.
that's
now,
the fear.
right now.
That's the fear, is that it can
Greed.
be weaponized. It can be weaponized, and that's why our government and our military is involved. Because I'll tell you some of the technology that is involved with this,
Please.
and that has been tested out there. That in my opinion, my dumbass opinion, has been tested out there, and that is invisibility cloaks by our government. Scientific Applications International Corporation, SAIC, which has recently changed their name due to Robert Guffey's novel, which attributed some of
Fucking invisibility cloaks. Bro.
Good.
That's
Saying Robert Guffey and invisibility cloaks, dude. Come on now.
Cut
Come
the
on
teeth.
now, Ryan. What are you doing to us?
and
Jeez.
taking some of his
Whoa.
patents,
He's
and taking his invisibility cloak, taking his fellow Masons patented information and using it in a way that, this is SAIC, which I love the company. They've done a great deal for our country, including keeping things invisible. So Robert Guffey wrote a magnificent book on this called Cameleo, as in chameleon, as in being able to be invisible. And this book is about this he's now died recently, within the last few months, but he was a Mason who created the invisibility cloak, was in the same lodge as Robert Guffey. And Robert Guffey got to know about all this through his very close friend, who was addicted to heroin of all things, and got pulled into this through a party-like atmosphere where somebody jumped into the party with a bunch of top secret laptops, top secret IR cameras, and things that could visually interact with these invisibility cloaks that they had taken from this other Masonic member of Robert Guffey's lodge.
Ryan, what degree are you in the craft?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, word?
word, son.
I don't know. I'm working on 3, but who knows? How high is there, right? Like, you never know.
Dude,
You're working on 3?
This happened to me yesterday.
Well, is there any number? Like, what is it? 3, 6, and 9 Tesla said, right?
You're working on the 3rd degree, though, I'm saying?
No. Okay, so back to my initial comment. I'll tell you everything about me.
Hit the button. Hit the button, Juan.
Illuminati confirmed.
Sorry, bud.
Okay,
Mr.
back to it.
Burns, you know what I mean?
You
Mr.
can't talk
Burns.
about you can't talk about secret societies, but if you're going to, you might as well talk about them. The initial comment I made about finding out that Paschal Beverly Randolph, very close friend of Abraham Lincoln, founder of the very first Rosicrucian school in the United States in 1776. And if I'm not mistaken, he was also like very pre-abolitionist, like obviously because he's part black, but he created a corporation called Beverly Hall Corporation. And this corporation is nothing but basically the intense, what do I say here? Well, he would follow these areas back to what we were talking about, like Summer Isle. He would follow these ley lines and these areas to spots where he thought there was more energetic magnetism. And he would, at those times in the 1800s, gather people and do very elaborate things to try to energize all kinds of things. And most people were impressed. The only problem was he was partially black, so they were like, this isn't going to work. And that happened over and over again throughout his entire career. If you look up Beverly Paschal Randolph or Paschal Beverly Randolph, he basically had it all. except one problem. He wasn't white. He was like partially black. And he knew all the right people, did all the right things, all the right times. But unfortunately, he was in a situation where, as I said, he was the very first hashish dealer recognized in the United States. And yet at the same time, best friends with Abraham Lincoln,
Yo,
trying
that's
to
racist,
abolish
bro.
slavery. Yeah, this dude was gangster, dude.
You're racist, dog.
Yeah, he was super gangster. He was trying to abolish slavery. First hashish dealer in the United States, good buddies with Abraham Lincoln. And actually on Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession, as they took his body to the gravesite, which Beverly was a part of creating the whole situation, because he was partially black, he was asked to leave the train. And out of respect, he asked the conductor to stop the train, and he left the train. He was like, hey, no problem. I might have paid for it, but I don't need to go there. And that's kind of the thing that's going on, I think, in the basin is like the government at this point has just like dropped a mic. They're like, we might have paid for it, but we don't need to go there because there's no telling where that is. And that is seeming to be more in a spiritual realm than your average CIA, FBI, DOD agent wants to go.
Oof. And can I add that Randolph also believed in something called pre-atomism, which the belief that humans existed on Earth before the biblical Adam. So he's talking about the Atlanteans at this point in time, and he was buddy with Abraham Lincoln. Come on. And he was able to sell that hashish because, right?
Illuminati confirmed.
Abraham Lincoln was his boy, so he wasn't going to rat him out, right? So again, this connectedness of lizards. And that, right, they're in the government. They're in the fucking government. So this wouldn't be Illuminati confirmed if we didn't talk about Nicolas Cage. We want to get your opinion on, do you think that Nicolas Cage is some sort of alchemist that is intertwining reality with story, and through his films is living all these lifetimes in some sort of ritual to be able to do something at the very end? Well, what are your thoughts on that, on the great alchemist, right? The mysterious alchemist.
Dude, I honestly, okay, let me tell you my little tiny interaction with Nicolas Cage. I happened to be able to drive one of his Corvettes that he created for SEMA.
You are definitely in a cult, dude. Definitely.
Dude, it's called the cult of having people think for themselves. And I'm telling you,
I'm
Nicholas,
in, by the way.
Did you meet him? Did you meet him, Ryan?
Okay, so I got to drive his car. It was a Corvette Stingray. The very first year they came out, the wheels said Nicolas Cage on the rims. The effing rims said Nicolas Cage on the rims. And I happen to be friends with the guy that sells him his vehicles when he's in Las Vegas, even though he's in debt tens of millions of dollars to the IRS. He happens to buy multitudes of exotic vehicles every year and has multiple ownerships of real estate in both Las Vegas, Nevada, California, whether it's Beverly Hills, everywhere. I've seen him everywhere. And so he's basically kind of an unreal, real person, right? Kind of like what you're talking about, Juan. He's kind of like somebody you can't see, but you see all the time. And he's a very similar character to Saint Germain, like this time traveling character that is able to interact with society on a level that it can handle. And then he's like slides out with his little smirk, and he's back when you least expect it, takes your cash, never pays you back. Like, it's a very interesting. Like, have you looked into this Saint Germain stuff, this time traveler stuff?
I'm looking it up right now. He was a high-ranking government official.
No, this stuff's crazy, guys.
Is this guy Germanus of Oxyeri or whatever?
No, it is.
He's been multiple people throughout many different
Yes, multiple
periods.
people throughout. Exactly,
Some
Mark.
people even say he was a vampire in New Orleans who like
Dude, my
attacked a
favorite
woman.
story of all. Yes, man.
Right.
It's the Count of Saint Germain. Check that out,
Right.
Juan. Count of Saint Germain.
He could have had a more modern incarnation, and that's what people are probably speculating about, saying he's some German guy now. But the legend is that he's lived for many different
His immortal life. What the
centuries.
So, like, what's
and,
so cool, what's so similar with the Count of Saint Germain and Nicolas Cage is that they give. Okay, I'm gonna like blow my F limit here. They give no fucks.
Yeah.
In the moment because they're only here for a little bit, but yet they're gone, come back. And that's kind of what you find in the Count of Saint Germain tale is that like he's a like super pronounced, well, blah, 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 blah. And then he'll just do this wild, crazy shit and be out. And that's kind of like Nicolas Cage, but more on a monthly level. So it's I know that here in Vegas he's very well respected as somebody that can handle his business. So he can handle Vegas. He can like come in, blow out, no pun intended, and there's no drama. Other people can't handle Vegas. So just being a resident, yeah. I guess I don't know. I'm a resident. I don't know. Yeah. Vegas sucks, but Nicolas Cage can handle Vegas. He is known as a local. He comes in. He has multiple venues, vehicles, all this stuff. Yet you talk to his tax associates, and he's, I forget, 10 years behind, like he gives 8. You know.
Wait, Ryan, have you talked to his tax associates?
No.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird. Did you talk to Nick Cage though? At least did you see him, or you're not able to see him? Or?
Well, I was told that the vehicle was just dropped because I was like, "What's this car worth?" And they're like, "We don't know."
With Nick Cage blood in it?
I'm like, the rims say Nicolas Cage on them.
We should have stole those, bro.
You think he would be mad?
Like, I just should have taken the rims. I could have put them on my Sprinter van.
You could, yeah, dude.
I was like, literally, it was like so crazy because he was like, yeah, just drive this thing. We don't know what it's worth. He just kind of dropped it off. Like he just wants to sell it. He wants something new. He gets something new every year. He doesn't really
vampire for real. Like
he really doesn't care what he gets for it. Like, and that's how it goes. Like he buys 2-3 Ferraris a year. Like he really does not care. In and out. Money is just kind of like this lubricant to get Nicolas Cage to the next. I mean, and the one thing is the guy's not faded. Like you think like you'll watch a movie and you'll be like, oh, that guy's like from the 80s. And then you'll watch another movie and you're like, he's from the 90s. And you'll watch another movie and he's from the 2000s.
Adrenochrome, bro.
He's in every freaking movie, like every generation. He like never gets old.
It's baby blood, dog.
Do you think
For real?
So Nick Cage is like some sort of real life psychopath that's going to guide us to the promised land, right? With his... So do you think he's a lizard or not, Ryan?
I think he was a human being that was too sober at an occult lizard party and he heard too much.
Whoa.
You think he's got bobs in him? 1 bobs, 2 bobs, 3 bobs in him?
I think he got Bob's phone number and he didn't, you know what I mean?
Bob's in there steering Nicolas Cage. You know what I mean?
He got Bob's phone number.
Yeah.
He got one of the Bob's phone numbers at a party. And I think somewhere along the line, I think Nicolas Cage definitely entered a realm that is sub rosa or
what?
Sub rosa? What the fuck is that?
Motherfucking dictionary, dog. Somebody bring that up.
This is so fucking wild, man. Like
that's south of Rose.
This is crazy. So
no, I think he got
designed and carried out secretly or confidentially. Thank you, Chris, for reminding me to look that up.
Sabrosa. Yeah, you know, I just found out that Mensa in Spanish means dumb bitch, basically. So that's the name of my podcast, which is sick, you know.
I'm an actual member, so I can relate to that.
Oh, he's a member of Mensa, bro.
Yeah. Oh, you're a Freemason and a member of Mensa? That's crazy, bro.
Illuminati
here.
confirmed.
I see you, boy. I see you. I got my eyes on you.
No,
right?
man. Did you know that man, there's some amazing members in Mensa. Like it's pretty amazing. Like some of the members that you find are like pretty like not what you would expect.
Yeah, no, I didn't. You know, mine's a little super, if you will. You know what I mean?
How does one get involved with Mensa in the first place, if you don't mind me inquiring?
Your IQ.
I think you take like a test.
You gotta be wicked smart.
Yeah, your IQ, 98th percentile or higher.
Yeah.
On a standardized, supervised IQ or other approved intelligence test.
Yeah.
So it's a high IQ society. So is it like the fucking New Atlantis or some shit?
Through school, basically?
Well, dude, like there's people that are dumb as like you would never imagine would be Mensa. Like Sylvester Stallone is Mensa. Mine's a 173, but he got like the IQ challenge. Okay, so how you join Mensa is it's got like a membership platform, and you take the Mensa admission test. And people like everyone from like you'd be amazed some of the people that are like super gifted. It's like crazy. But yeah, you take this test.
You can buy your way. You're saying,
yeah, you could probably buy your way.
There.
Yeah, you take two different options. You get the Mensa test. There's two different sections proctored by local group volunteers. But anyway, yeah, it's stupid. Really dumb, actually.
Wait, Ryan, can I get in?
Probably, dude.
I don't know about. I gotta take the test though, right?
Then your podcast would be the official Mensa podcast.
No, nothing about that works, man. That's sorry, B. I want to get like cease and desist letters where they're just like, bro, you're not smart enough. I'm like, I know. You know? We gonna start a war. It's gonna be like Biggie versus Tupac out here in these streets with these nerds.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised who some of these nerds that are going to kill us. Like some of these nerds that are going to kill us, like who they are.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky, man. Like
I
some
just
of the
want to meet
people,
some of them. I bet you there's some real and smart people.
They're super, like they're really cool. They're super, like way unbalanced usually.
I can see that.
So, Ryan,
yeah,
have there been any occult societies that have tried to use these areas or the Skinwalker that have tried to tap into that by like doing different rituals, like, you know, the OTO or the Golden Dawn or whatever, you know what I mean? Have they try and like weaponize this? Because I know they like to go, because Chris mentioned wars earlier, and I know that these secret societies like to go on these wars with each other at sometimes, you know, whatever, cursing each other. I don't know what the fuck they do, but have they try and use this quote unquote technology? Yeah.
The first may be Umbra Viventus Lucis.
That's what I'm talking about.
Umbra Vivestis. What?
Shut the fuck up. What is it, Juan? Say it again.
I don't know, bro.
Okay, so talking seriously.
Rosa.
No, there's some profound transformative stuff that can take place and experiences if they're in controlled capacity in this location. So, yes, other than governments, not really. Other than myself and some very close, tight-knit associates, not really. It's basically the United States government, and from what I understand, Russian and Chinese government, for lack of a better word, spies trying to, you know, effing van lifers, you know, hashtag. I don't know what they're doing out there, but they're probably not who they appear to be, and they're looking for things that should not be there. And they're trying to confirm to associates that we have something that is somewhat of a crypto stash of cryptozoological entities and variants, unidentified aerial phenomena, ghost lights, and things of dimensional variants that that the other governments should be concerned about. And I'll be honest, yeah, they should be concerned.
Ryan, did you just say?
They should be concerned, dude.
Did you just
'Cause
say
we can,
there's
yeah,
spies out there that are doing van life?
No, I don't know how they're honestly, there's all kinds of things. There's different LLCs purchasing large acreages, trying to do Stargate slash research. We have people that swear they've seen Chinese drills taking place out of helicopters and such.
Ryan, let's throw a wrench into the mix again. Do you think that, okay, so we have these spies from other countries, Russia, China, whatever, which might imply that maybe perhaps on their continents or their countries, there's not any of these locations. I may be wrong, but do you think that the founding fathers knew this when they picked the United States to be the United States, when, in 1776 they said, we're going to take this because there's fucking portals here, and boom.
Dude, for sure.
What are you talking about, dude?
For sure. The founding fathers,
You
dude.
discovered the shit with boats? I thought, man, what are you talking about?
Okay, if you look up the founding, okay, I'm just gonna Sub Rosa speaking. The founding, okay, how do I take this into a place where I can remove myself from the equation? The founding fathers had a legitimate paranormal experience.
Oh, they did, with the shadow man inside the room that motivated them.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
fuck. That's crazy.
They had a
What the
legitimate
fuck?
paranormal experience with an entity that brought them a seal that would designate the future of the country as we know it today. And this
Yeah.
entity was not human in any sense of the word. In fact, they tried to find the entity and he was gone before they could find him.
Yo,
There
so
There
I
was a
think
seal
Chris.
from another dimension.
Yes, dude,
told them the
it's the
future.
Ashtar Galactic Command. So what ended up happening, these guys, right, the founding fathers didn't want to sign their name because they knew it was death for them, whoever signed this document when they were founding the country. So they were hesitant to sign it. They're like, hey, if this fails, if this goes down, we're signing our death fucking certificate
sure.
right here. So
For sure.
out of nowhere, and mind you, this was a guarded place and locked up, right? Nobody was getting in or out. Out of nowhere, there was this figure, this shadow figure, right? The shadow man. Maybe it's Slender
Yeah.
Man. I don't know who the fuck he is.
I've heard of this. I've heard of this.
That
roughly.
motivated them and said, we gotta fucking do this, and da-da-da. And everybody's like, yeah. Like you see in the movies when they start the speech. And then they're like, yeah, and they're in the moment, they're signing, yeah, let's fucking go. And then, where's homeboy?
It's a seal.
Wait, I thought he was you. No, I thought you were him. No, it wasn't me. Where
Shadow
the
man.
fuck did he go?
Word.
And we know that the Illuminati
Illuminati Confirmed.
was established in 1776, right? These outcasts, these heathens that had these other radical thoughts, the Illuminati, that's why they were so elusive and hard to find, because again, they were heretics of the time, and they were broken up and just withered away. But there's a Manly P. Hall lecture from 1954, if I recall correctly, where he talks about the Illuminati. And one of the things that he says at the very beginning, where he drops this bomb that really stood out to me, was when he says, the Illuminati are on this earth, but not of it. And when they are casted out or destroyed, they always find a way back in. So,
And with that, I will take the Great Seal of the United States.
Ooh,
A
snap.
beautiful seal
A bird.
with 13 arrows in one hand of the eagle, an olive branch in the other to offer amnesty. The Great Seal is a principal national symbol of the United States. The phrase is used for both everything. The physical seal itself represents everything we are made of. This Great Seal was brought by a hooded man who no one could identify. to a Masonic lodge. This was after. What's super scary about this is this was a secret site where they were talking heretically about leaving the Union, not the Union. What the hell am I talking about? Leaving the British.
The crown.
And this is pre-Union, yeah. And what it symbolized. And this hooded gentleman entered with the Great Seal of the United States, handed it off, took off, left. Same thing. One and done, gone.
What can we take from that? Is that the ascended masters that H.P. Blavatsky was talking about, where they had, right, they were able to, Pythagoras?
100%. 100%. I would bet the ranch, my ranch, the neighbor's ranch, I bet everybody's ranch. I would bet the ranch that it is 100%.
Ryan, nobody wants to go to your spooky ass ranch, bro.
I can't get rid of it if I wanted to. But hey, while I'm putting stuff on the table, that's a perfect object. And I do think that there was this. Whoa, dude, I got stuff moving in the room.
Oh my God.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy as okay. But 100%, I believe that there were occult inspired, genuine aspirations multiple times throughout this country's birth.
Oh, 100%.
It's crazy.
100%. That's what the Rosicrucians were all about. They're about putting the symbolism in it. Right, we have King James version of the Bible. Again, another person that was breaking away from the crown that started this alchemical process, which is the King James version of the Bible. A man who was a sympathizer with witches, the occult, wrote about demonology, wrote about werewolves, wrote about vampires. Mind you, this is the guy behind the pushing of it was the official Bible of everybody needed to have it, and they were also competing with the Geneva Bible, but they were, again, making this, everybody had to have this in their homes. Everybody, no matter what, you needed to have this version of the Bible. Now, they say it was edited by Francis Bacon, who some people say was William Shakespeare. Again, a person in history who is attributed to morphing and making the English language what it is today was the one behind, again, and we have Nick Cage, the great alchemist that uses movies to talk to people's souls.
Again, Francis Bacon is often acknowledged as the Count of Saint Germain, same as Nicolas Cage.
What the fuck?
Bruh.
Wow, dude. So we have this figure all throughout all of history who is right. You could say he's at the right place at the right time. You know who else was omnipotent? Pythagoras was omnipotent. And there's parallels between Pythagoras and the story of Jesus Christ. And again, who was also omnipotent? God, right? The Son of God was creating miracles and doing all these crazy esoteric things. And that's why people say the Christ consciousness, this higher being, right? Shambhala, these places where there are these entities of higher consciousness, right? So again, that is fucking crazy.
Dude, when you start to bring it all together, when you realize that the first Rosicrucian secret society, in fact, the first secret society in the United States, period, was brought together by Beverly, Pashoff, Randolph, Beverly. And this is very interesting because this gentleman, if you want to talk elites, he started the very first Rosicrucian secret society in the United States. He's best friends with Abraham Lincoln. He is someone who came from nothing, yet he was always at this glass ceiling of everything. Like, no matter how many times they chopped him down, much like the Count of Saint Germain or Nicolas Cage, no matter how many times they chopped him down, he was always like, boom, right there. What? Another blockbuster, like another hit, another, this these individuals and I have to throw Benjamin Franklin in the mix because he was also a member of the White Brotherhood, and I don't even want to go there, but they're all members of the same secret society coming out of the same location. And these members, no matter what you did to them, they were always at the top of their game. You would like look at him and be like, okay, this guy's got to be in the gutter. He's got to be in the trash. And he would be helping 3 organizations of philanthropic movements, starting a new technology, and some organization of like, you know, betterment of the community. And this happened like without like dispense, especially in ancient years. When you look back at the founding of this country, it seemed as if, and I don't want to go down the path of like, did we have more souls then than we do now? But, you know, it seemed like these individuals had more grit. They had more intuitive grit, more soul, and they were more advanced in a general nature in what they could accomplish in a lifetime compared to the general population nowadays.
You just said we're pussies, basically. I could agree with that. That kind of makes sense.
Wow, Ryan, that's so fascinating. And every time I think about this, I have more questions than answers, right? Because the further down the rabbit hole you go, you're always left with more questions. I did an episode yesterday and I said, what came first, right? The sword or the stone? Because what the fuck was the sword doing in the stone to begin with, right?
It's not in a stone.
And an anvil, whatever. Yeah, whatever. So who put it there? What came first, the chicken or the egg? And right, and what's the purpose of the sword being in the stone, right? It's it brings forth the calling, right? Because I guess that's what makes us want to look into this, right? What it gives us the call to arms type of shit, where the initiative to look into what is happening, right? Because it's like these little nuggets that are sprinkled in here and there. It's like, what's their purpose? Maybe it is to engage us, right?
But do we have to be fearful of that engagement, much like Nicolas Cage in the Wicker Man with Rowan? Like, he was intrigued into the mystery, but yet burned by the fire, like much like a moth to a flame. Do we have to worry about that?
Oh my God, dude, that was brilliant.
Well, check this out. I think this quote is relates to the conversation. The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. That being H.P. Lovecraft, right? We fear what we don't know, that dark abyss that we have to navigate through it. And I think that Nicolas Cage, right, in the movie The Wicker Man, he was this psychopomp that was there to guide the souls through this journey that we're on right now. He is our Virgil, right? Where he's leading us through. He's Dante in Dante's Inferno. You know, he's guiding us through the Inferno, the abyss, right? The Burning Man, the Wicker Man. He is there, right? And when he rescues the little girl, he's like, I'm going to save you. And then we have the bear symbolism in there when he dresses up as a bear, right? Because he is fierce. He is this warrior. And Nicolas Cage is fucking amazing. I think you're muted, Ryan. You're muted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you mentioned the Burning Man, because it's kind of that same ideology that it doesn't matter what you do, because once the man burns, it doesn't matter what you do.
Have you ever been to Burning Man? Have any of you been there before? Would you fucking go, Chris? You want to go, Chris?
Fuck.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go to Skinwalker Ranch, and then we'll go to Burning Man right after.
Okay.
There's not going to be anything of us left when we're fucking done with that. Like, the Skinwalker's going to take half our soul, right? And it's like a tank. Like, if you run out, if you're at a quarter tank and you fucking run out, you're done. So we're going to go.
Just going to see these poofs of smoke roll into town.
We're going to be in the Aether. Yeah, we're going to be just this fucking, this gas just walking around like fucking. I think that maybe, Ryan, maybe that's what happens to people when they quote unquote die, right? Their tank empties and their their soul is let out of this vessel that it's in into the ether, right? Into the Akashic. That's what again, ascended masters, Akashic records. Maybe that's where all the elders are at, right? These great old ones that are sitting there speaking this knowledge to whoever goes up there, and whoever's able to tap in. It's like the OG podcast. They're able to hear in and go, oh, fuck, those are the Bobs talking. The Bobs are, the Bobs are the Illuminati Confirmed podcast. They're spitting that shit. Yeah, bro. You know what I mean? Fuck.
Dude, for real, we all think our life is like the Monte Carlo Indianapolis 500, but in reality, it's like a fucking mud fucking monster truck rally. Fucking, you know?
Grave
And
digger, grave digger.
you know what I mean? And it's so true. Well, I think you're right. When we get to the Akashic Records, it's like we slide in with like a wheel falling off, and we're just like, "How do we do?" And it's like, not too good, dude.
The fucking Dukes of Hazzard in there, like fucking yeah. And you said the gravedigger, and the gravedigger's spade is a symbol for death.
Grave
right?
digger, dude.
Yeah, the gravedigger. And if you take the spade and turn it upside down, it's your coccyx, right? The sacrum bone, where
Definitely.
where the
For
sacred
sure.
comes from.
Mark. You know what
What the fuck?
Listen, Ryan, I've had a great time tonight, and I think this went above and beyond what I could have imagined, right? We have this esoteric knowledge that we're spitting out here. Ryan is talking in cryptic language like this, but I had a great time, guys. What do you think of this? How do you think it went? What do you think, Mark and Chris, of
I still have so many questions, but this was fun, Ryan. I would love to have you on my podcast and
please
ask you some questions that I didn't get to ask today. But yeah, today was a lot of fun. I feel like the Skinwalker is as elusive as your connection was today. It's 1 minute it's here, 1 minute it's not. So
it was part of the presentation.
I loved it. I think there's a lot. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, maybe we have a little bit of time to get into it, is the Wendigo, and then the other word that is kind of similar, the Wetiko. Are these concepts at all related to the phenomena that people are experiencing in that location, or are those just kind of like other Native American paranormal things that people lump together with the Skinwalker?
I would say that they are definitely individual. However, they are lumped together in that they are elemental entities that are often talked about in a folkloric sense with an immense power. And the Wendigo is amazing. It is more madness for the sake of madness. So, but with the Skinwalker, what's so usually, and man, I hate to be devil's advocate, but was so usually like overlooked with the Skinwalker, it is so obviously and usually called such an evil entity. Oh, Skinwalker, evil, 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 evil. That's all you hear. Evil all day, every day, all day, every day. Evil. What people are failing to understand is that this was an entity that people, Native Americans, that were restricted in, for lack of a better word, a concentration camp at the time. They were able to, through the use of occult principle and magic, take the form of a local animal and release themselves from that captivity, for lack of a better word, to accomplish goals. Now that's pretty far from evil in my
you get a ghost helper.
Yeah, man. Like you could do
a
worse.
Familiar.
Yeah, familiar. Like they're
That's
doing
how
the
they said
best they
that,
can.
Solomon's temple got built, right? With the
djinn.
It's a culture utilizing magic to do the best they can under very unique and terrible, horrific, diabolical circumstances.
I always knew it was the Jesuits. I always knew it. You see, guys, I told you it was them, right? Where they're using this occultic magic, Kabbalah, the golem, right? This homunculi where it's the imperfect version of a man, where it's like it looks like a man, but it can't even talk, right? The Full Metal Alchemist, when the man merges the dog and the little girl, and she's like, oh, well, she's here with me still. It's like, well, that ain't your little girl anymore. That's some other out, that's what the thing is. This thing that we don't know is there, but is there all the time, and you don't know who it is, and it's imitating a person. And as soon as you know it, Chris's head opens up and it fucking swallows you whole. And they're like, where'd Chris go? And it was this thing that took it, right?
Amen, man.
At the Mountains of Madness, where when they learned about this ancient race, they went fucking mad.
Well, and that is it. That is it. Because the mountains of, okay, if you look at, as the host just said, as you just said, Juan, these situations with golems, skinwalkers, other things that the mind can create with just minimal use and acceptance of elemental force, whether that be clay, mud, earth, and what the mind can create is actual life, which if you look into deep, deep esoteric elite doctrine, you will find that the monad is at the primary source of the soul. And the monad is literally a thought from God that becomes a soul. So you have to be very careful where your thinking goes. And that's where areas like Uinta Basin, Space Wolf Research, Sedona, places where, it's kind of like check yourself before you wreck yourself. Watch your mind, because what your mind can conjure, your subconscious will create. And then you have to deal with it. And it's a very strange situation.
It's be careful what you wish for, right? That's where that comes from. And I wanted to wrap it up with this, an excerpt from The Initiates of the Flame. The Philosopher's Stone. This is the true stone of the philosopher, which gives him power over all created things. The stone is himself. The experiences of his evolution have cut and polished the rough stone until in it, the initiate, it reflects light of creation from 1,000 different facets. And I fucked that up. And until in the initiate, it reflects the light of creation from 1,000 different facets. So again, very poetic, because how you're saying we are the creator and we are the observer at the same fucking time. And if you're able to put it all together, right, the pieces of the puzzle, and unlock that higher level of consciousness, you're able to do what you said, create realities and create whatever thing in whatever level of existence that you want to create. You're able to do that because, how you said, right, and the monad, emanationism, right, the one is in the center, and from there emanates reality, and we are the monad. Fuck.
Illuminati confirmed.
Mic drop. How'd I do, guys? Did you like that?
It's all right. Give yourself your own mic drop. Takes off a few points, but I liked it.
Agreed.
So, Ryan.
It was epic, dude. Epic.
This was fucking amazing.
I talk too much, dude. I was chatterboxed.
You're the guest,
Kathy.
bro. You're the guest. It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah. I enjoyed listening, Ryan. Truly. I think there was a lot of delays with the connection, which you were graceful with. So I think it was fine. You did good.
Yes.
I kept having to run downstairs to see if my 18-month-old had unplugged the modem, which it's like a long ways. So like you guys kept seeing me run through the door. It was like super weird. Every time I would walk in, I would see the same thing. It was like you guys there like, what's going on?
So, Ryan, for the listeners still with us, can you plug your information? And I would love for you and Mark to do something together. I would love to see that come together, and you can
That'd
get on
be
this
awesome.
show and chop it
sure.
up. Can you plug your socials, Ryan?
For sure. Socials, Space Wolf Research on Facebook, spacewolfresearch.com, Hero Paranormal on Facebook, heroparanormal.com. You can also go to ryanpatrickburns.com. That's about it.
Amazing, amazing. And I had a lot of fun. And thank you all for making it out here tonight. And until next time, Ryan, we'll have you back on soon. And hopefully you do that collab with Mark, because I would love to.
Man, I'd love to. That'd be great. I would love to. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'll be in touch for sure.
Right on, Mark. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.